So when I started the audiobook for Oathbringer, the preface told me I should try to read the novella Edgedancer, so I decided to grab it for audiobook. It's 6.5 hours long, it's not too long, but it's about Lift. Edgedancer is about Lift. If you're unfamiliar, she's that Radiant who has the slippery power when she eats food, and I didn't like her character in Words of Radiance, and I don't like her in this, and Brandon Sanderson does like this character, so that's kind of a bummer for me. But I forced myself to listen to the novella. It's very pedestrian. I don't like the character. I don't like her sprint. I don't like anything about this character. They say you should read it, but I say skip it. You don't need to read or listen to Edgedancer before you start Oathbringer, and that's my opinion on that. 2 out of 5. Oathbringer is the third book of the Stormlight Archive by Brandon Sanderson. Now, before I could read this one, I made myself finish Edgedancer. Now, at the time, I didn't like Edgedancer because I don't really like the character of Lift, but if you don't read that novella before Oathbringer, she's not introduced in this book very well, Oathbringer. So if you don't have that novella knowledge, the character is going to seem a little random in this one because she's just sort of there, and she has a little bit to do near the end of the book. So you kind of have to read Edgedancer if you want a better understanding of that character, or else it'll just be really weird. Anyways, Oathbringer is the third book of the Stormlight Archive, and I didn't quite enjoy this one. I read about half, and then I DNF'd at the beginning of the year in January. However, I was going through some work stuff, and I have to explain so I don't seem like a huge jerk. Basically, Oathbringer is a really long audiobook. I'm in audiobooks now. It's 55 hours, and in order for me to finish that within 3 weeks, because that's how long you're allowed to have it, you have to listen to at least 3 hours per day, or 2.5 at least. And I don't really listen to audiobooks on the weekend because I usually listen to it to and from work, and maybe after I get home from work while cooking or whatever, things like that. So it was really hard for me to keep up with the 2.5 hours per day, and it was starting to get stressful because if you miss a day or you just don't feel like listening to one. So that's kind of the main reason why. And then also had some work stuff going on. So basically, yeah, I DNF'd. Then I picked it back up. I can do the other half on my own time, 25 hours, that's easily doable in a 3-week period. So Oathbringer, the reason why I didn't like it as much is the second one, obviously. I consider the second book the best book that Brandon Sanderson's written. It has some amazing action sequences and pacing and emotional bombshells, all that stuff going on. And Oathbringer doesn't really have a lot going on. It's taking place a little while after. We're getting some more world building, some another villain introduced, but not as interesting as the previous villains we've seen before. There's not a lot going on. The book is the longest of the Stormlight Archive, but not a lot of action. Some development here and there for some of the characters. Nothing too grandiose. The action sequence at the end was okay, but I just felt like there wasn't a lot going on this time around, and it feels like one of those placeholder books that just has like a lot of setup but not a lot of payoff, and that's nothing wrong with that, but it just felt like a little bit of a drag to get through. Also, the action at the end was great and all, but like a little bit messy. It's hard to write big battle sequences. I noticed that Brandon Sanderson does have problems writing big battles. When he was writing the finale of the Wheel of Time books, or the Hero of Ages, messy call-offs battles, not much else going on. So at least there's some more interesting things going on. Maybe in the next one, but there's a couple of things that happen in this one. But overall, I can only give Oathbringer a 3 out of 5. I'll continue reading the series, though, for sure.